Hello, everyone. I am thrilled to embark on this literary adventure with you. Today, we are going to delve into the key periods that have shaped English literature as we know it. So, grab your quills and parchment as we journey through time. So, this is the chronology starting from Old English period till contemporary age, and we will cover all these ages in this video. Timing of this age is from 450 AD to 1066 AD. Old English was a time of fall of Roman Empire or fall of Byzantium, or actually we can say it is a time of Old English literature. The medieval literature is talking about fairies, dragon, and King Arthur. These two ages are known as medieval age, and mostly the important thing here is King Arthur or Arthurian cycle, because most of the stories are dealing with King Arthur. So, what is the story behind King Arthur? Prince Arthur became the king and he was told to bring this holy grail, believed to be a jug or a mug, where Jesus Christ has its last wine. And there's a painting by Leonardo da Vinci that depicted the jug or a mug. The name of painting is The Last Supper. And King Arthur has to find out this holy grail because his land has been cursed. Arthurian cycle stands for morality, valor, chivalry, and there is a concept of right to the wrong. Most of the Anglo-Saxons or the medieval literature deal with Arthurian cycle, and Lord Alfred Tennyson has compiled all the story and write Death of Arthur. Mordred has killed Arthur, and Sir Thomas Malory has written a work Le Morte d'Arthur. If they ask you in net or any exam which age is basically the Arthurian cycle, so it is Old English, where we have other writers like Cadman, Geoffrey of Monmouth, but most of the writers are unknown. If we know about the writers, so we don't know about the books, or we know about the books, we don't know the names of the writers. Starting of this age is from 166 till 1500 AD. And 166 is very important because most of the people say it as Battle of Hastings, also called Norman Conquest. Normans from Normandy or France, they came to England and defeated Anglo-Saxons. So a strong tribe is came to England in 166, and from 1066 to 1500 they have talked about early Renaissance. I suggest you that this age description is not completely right. There should always be a mention of age of Chaucer because Chaucer age is the first modern age. So I suggest you to take it from 1066 to 1340 so that after 1340 to the other age or like 1500 you can go for Chaucer. Or if we talk about 1500, so this was the time of great vowel shift took place, and uh, during like great vowel shift english language started to develop in its original form, and this time is also known as renaissance or revival of knowledge. And the person who studied the great vowel shift was otto jesperson, and the writers during this age is like john milton and john donne, and the famous painters are raphael and michelangelo. Renaissance actually started by 1450 to 1600. So in this period, a lot of exploration took place and multiple islands were discovered. Like India in 1498 was discovered and America was discovered in 1492. Also during the Renaissance, uh, the printing press was also introduced in 1453 by Gutenberg, and in England printing press was introduced by Caxton in 1476. As we can see the timeline of this age, so this age was already existed in Renaissance. Elizabethan age was age of drama, poetry, essays, development, learning, music, art and painting. In short, it is a golden age of literature. Queen Elizabeth was the Queen of England and her teacher was Roger Ascham. Elizabethans are the first people who studied the drama, and the courses of drama were introduced in Elizabethan age. So this was the reason of rise of university wits, the term coined by George Sainsbury. They are the expert people. They did the course of dramaturgy. They experimented the art of writing, and there was a kind of boom in various types of drama. Multiple theaters were opened, and competition was increased. Jacobean period. In this period, James I was the king. We can see the development of revenge tragedy style drama in this period. Writers in this age are Webster, who wrote White Devil and Duchess of Malfi, and John Marston was there who wrote Antonio and Melida. This era was mainly divided into two main religions, Catholic and Protestants, and James I was the follower of Protestants. Caroline period. Charles I becomes the king and he was a lavish man. His followers were called Caroline or Cavaliers. These people are the court poets. Court poets were highly skilled writers and poets employed by royal courts. Puritans didn't like Charles I, and so there was a Puritans uprising and revolt took place, and that is a civil war for 7 years, starting from 1642 till 1649. And Puritans defeated King Charles I in 1649, and King was killed, and they re-established other empire known as Puritan Empire. Puritans are religious people or the followers of John Calvin on the philosophy of Calvinism and also on the theory of born sinner theory. According to the born sinner theory, we we people are born as sin on this earth, and we are here to fulfill our punishment because our forefathers Adam and Eve have eaten the first fruit of disobedience. Restoration period has been divided in many things, like political trouble of 1685 and glorious revolution in 1688. We know that in Caroline, Charles I was killed or beheaded. Charles II, the son of Charles I, ran away to France and went to his relatives and started living there. And Puritans were supported by Oliver Cromwell. But after the death of Oliver Cromwell in 1658, for 11 years, Puritan Empire was totally dead. And the son of Oliver Cromwell was not competent enough or a deserving leader, and some generals under the command of Cromwell joined hands in a secret way in front of Charles II. And then Charles II came in England in 1660, and that is called restoration, or and he became king in 1660. And Puritas means pure religious people. Puritans believed that pleasure was sin and everything was banned like for 11 years, but ban was uplifted in 1660 when Charles II became the king. And during this period they have copied France culture, and in hurry they adopted like vulgar or uh, obscene literature. And Restoration Age literature is a vulgar one because most of the stories are not talking about true love, sacrifices, devotions, but they are talking about rape, seductions, and betrayal. And Charles Lamb has said that Restoration literature is a vulgar literature or artificial literature. Augustan phase is also called neoclassics or pseudo-classics. They started imitate or introduce the classical writings of Rome, Greek, and ancient England. During this, writers had copied like nature of writing or style of writing that is known as wit, but they didn't go for the content or the context of the writing. And then there are some writers who started questioning writers that why we are talking about obscenity or vulgar things, and one of them is Jeremy Collier. And then writers started thinking about quality literature, and Collier has wrote a pamphlet known as a short note on immorality and profaneness of the English stage, published or written in 1698. And this note questioned on the vulgarity of restoration. The very method of like introducing quality literature was reintroduced classics. And the writers of this age are like Jonathan Swift, who hated mankind and he was in love with a girl known as Stella. And And he also wrote a very famous work known as Gulliver Travel and Modest Proposal, that is a juvenile satire written. And another writer is Alexander Pope, born in 1688 and death was in 1744. Uh, Compton Rickett said that Alexander Pope was literary dictator of this age, and he also called him as Samuel Johnson. Neoclassical is mostly talking about city life, rich people, fashion house, or coffee houses. Romantic age or pre-romantic started in 1745, and this was the age where people were bored of neoclassical plus artificial literature. They said that literature should come through heart, but people wanted literature like for nature and rural life. And pre-romantic was actually using heroic couplets, and content was nature like life and environment. And this was the age of enlightenment, transition novels, and sentimental novels. One of the famous writers is James Thompson, who has written a book, Season, and he discussed four seasons in this work. And as we know that during romantic period, like poets were written in heroic couplets, and one of the famous or the best example is by Thomas Gray, elegy written in the country churchyard in 1751. Victorian literature is during the reign of Queen Victoria, that is from 1837 till 1901. The 19th century is considered by some to be the golden age of English literature, especially for the British novels. It was in Victorian era that the novel became the leading literary genre in English. English writing from this era reflects the major transformations in most aspects of English life, from scientific, economic, and technological advances to changes in class structures and the role of religion in society. The famous novelists from this period include Charles Dickens, William Makepeace Thackeray, the Bronte sisters, Elizabeth Gaskell, George Eliot, Mary Ann Evans, Thomas Hardy, and Rudyard Kipling. And novelists during the Victorian era began to direct their attention towards the social issues. And there you have it, a whirlwind tour through the ages of British literary history. From age of the Old English to the Victorians, each period offers a unique glimpse into the human experience. So until next time, keep turning the pages of history and discovering the wonders of English literature. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Till then, happy reading.